Now that we have a finished solution, let's publish it to the cloud so it can be shared and so others can gain insight. So I'm going to go to the Office 365 portal. I'm going to sign in with my credentials. And here on the portal, I'm going to go to my Power BI sites. So this is an E3 subscription where I had added Power BI. And I'm going to add my workbook, the file that I've created here in Excel. So I browse to that file, click OK, and I'm going to upload that file to my Office 365 tenant. And there you can see that it's uploading. And then because it's larger than 10 megabytes, I need to enable it. And that simply means that I'm enabling the model, and it essentially gives Office 365 permission to use it. And we'll open the report and browse it. So here in my web browser, we should see the PowerView sheets served up through Excel services. There you see the sheets down there on the bottoms. There's the visual we were just looking at. So I'm going to go back to my Power BI site, and I'll both enable this for Q&A, for natural language, and I'll also favorite it so it shows up as a tile in my favorites. So that's been added to Q&A, which means that on the back end it's being indexed. I'm adding it to my favorites and featuring it. So that now shows up in my featured reports, and we can click on that, and again you would see the visual right here in the browser. So I'm going to go ahead and look at this with Q&A. Now, Q&A is a really, really interesting feature. It allows a user to type English questions, just simple questions. Those questions will be converted into queries on the fly. So if I just type sightings by state, it immediately is going to run this query. It recognizes that state is a geographic unit, and it's going to visualize this in a map and show me the sightings by state. And so as I type, you're going to see that very quickly the Power QA is going to change visuals. It's going to try to interpret my question. There I say sightings by state and category, so it adds the segmentation over the states. And I can try all kinds of different things. And I have to phrase the questions correctly, and it learns and I learn, so it's kind of an interactive experience in that way. We can actually go back into Power Pivot, and I can create what are called synonyms, which allow me to add additional words that are synonymous with attributes and measure names that I had created in my model to make it a little more natural and easy for users to use. And then when I find a question that works, I can save that question as a featured question so that a user can use that as a starting point. So let's try, so there's all of my sightings. As I type sightings, it just goes to the sightings table. I can say sightings by time block, and there I can see them by time. I can say, I can add 4, and then I can start filtering this data and say sightings by time block for shape, category, and choose one of my categories, so light, and there we see that it filters that. And it also gives me suggestions in the drop-down list, and then I can just use the up and down arrows and tabs or enter or the mouse to be able to choose among all of those questions. So it's a very, very powerful tool. It's very natural and very easy to use. And so there we can say in Texas and California. So it shows me the sightings side by side in Texas and in California. We're seeing a lot more UFO sightings in California than we are in Texas. Wonder if that might have something to do with there being more military installations. I don't know. We can add Florida. We can add Washington. And after I've added a certain number of categoric values, it will change the visual to adapt. So there we can see our drug use data, which shows up as a table. Power Q&A will just simply answer questions as I ask them. And so if I ask a question that it perceives has a single value, a scalar value, it'll just show me that value. So if I say what is the average value, it's going to aggregate that, give me the average. And then if I start adding things that suggest segmentation or that there's some kind of visualization for, it's going to segment that data, and then it will visualize it in different ways. So there's the average value for all drug use by year and category. So that should, and if I have multiple models enabled, it'll actually switch between models. So I can actually do correlation between different models, or at least different categories within those models. So here you can see that it's actually switched back to my UFO sightings, or different detail tables within my model. And so there's my UFO sightings by category. And so it found an appropriate visual for that. And then it adds city. So it's doing segmentation within category. And then if it sees that there's a geographic element, that it will go ahead and use a map visual. Well, I hope that this has given you a good solid introduction to the kinds of analytics and the kinds of insights that you can get by using the Power BI components in Excel 2013 that you can use on your desktop or push them up to the cloud to collaborate with others. You're welcome to reach out to me via my blog on the address on this site, and thank you for your time.